Listen to me and listen closely, for we are about to dismantle the greatest lie you have ever been told about success. You do not need to become the absolute best in the grand arena of the world. You are under no obligation to surpass the entirety of the human race, nor do you need to stand atop the hierarchy of status to be deemed worthy of existence. The world tells you that validity comes from external conquest, from the applause of the crowd, from the accumulation of accolades that gather dust on shelves. But I am here to tell you that all this life truly demands of you, the only metric that carries any genuine metaphysical weight, is that you conquer yourself every single day. That is the definition of success. It is not the superficial success peddled by the media, defined by mansions, luxury cars, and millions of followers who do not know your soul. It is true success, the quiet, unshakable respect you hold for yourself when you look in the mirror. Let us speak of the psychological warfare happening within your own mind. Have you not felt the exhaustion, the visceral fatigue of living a double life? I'm not speaking of secrets kept from others, but the secret war between the two versions of you. There is the entity you wish to become, the idealized self, strong, capable, disciplined, and there is the entity that you allow to exist, the one that compromises, the one that settles. How many times have you sat down, fueled by a burst of late-night motivation, and drafted a master plan? You write down the goals, you swear upon everything holy that this time will be different, that the change is imminent. And yet, mere days later, the entropy sets in, and you regress back to the baseline of your old habits. Now hear this clearly, you are not lazy. You are not useless. In clinical terms, you are simply not yet strong enough to override your biological imperative for comfort. You lack the psychological conditioning to defeat your own lower nature. No one will tell you this because it is harsh, but as a student of the human condition, I must be the one to say it. The greatest enemy you will ever face in this lifetime is not the economy, it is not your competitors, it is not the government. It is you. It is that insidious voice in the back of your cortex that persuades you to rest just 5 minutes more. It is the voice that convinces you to postpone the critical task, to click the tongue and ignore the principles you set for yourself, to close your eyes and pretend you do not see your dreams rotting in the corners of your mind. Jim Rohn, a master of American pragmatic philosophy, once posited a chilling truth. If you do not conquer yourself, you will be defeated by yourself. This is not a metaphor, it is a mathematical certainty. Every single day that you fail to act, you are not standing still. You are actively voting for your own demise. You are allowing the weaker part of your psyche to claim victory. It does not happen with a loud crash. It is not dramatic. It is silent, subtle, and terrifyingly certain. It steals your confidence 1 milligram at a time. It erodes your clarity. It shackles your internal freedom. And eventually the doubt creeps in like a fog. You begin to ask, am I truly good enough? Will I ever make it? Understand this, that doubt is not a rational question from your intellect. It is a symptom. It is the consequence of having lost to yourself too many times. It is the physiological response to a track record of broken promises. But today, right now, I stand before you to help you flip the chessboard. We are not here for hollow encouragement or feel-good platitudes. We are here for the cold, hard, liberating truth. You do not need to do more in terms of volume, you simply need to win the battle against the self. And here is the strategy. You focus only on today. Forget the 30-day challenge. Forget the yearly resolution. The human mind is overwhelmed by such timelines. Your jurisdiction is today. Just today. Can you defeat the urge to be lazy today? Can you defeat the habit of procrastination today? Can you win the battle against the doom scrolling on your phone and physically stand up? Can you silence that internal dialogue that begs for comfort and choose the difficult path? When you do the right thing, however small, however invisible, even if no one is there to applaud, something profound happens. Your heart knows. Your soul records the data. You have just laid the first brick in the reconstruction of your identity. You must understand that no monumental success was ever born from a flash of inspiration. That is a myth of Hollywood. True greatness is born from discipline, boring, repetitive, quiet, unglamorous discipline. It is doing the work when you are tired, when you see no immediate result, when the dopamine is low. That is the victory. A successful person is not someone who never fails. A successful person is someone who does not allow failure to take up residence within their spirit. They do not let failure become a lifestyle. When they fall, they extinguish the self-pity with action. They do not complain, they do not cast blame, they do not wait for the stars to align. They act. And you possess the capacity to start right now. You do not need to wait for tomorrow morning. You do not need to wait for the new year. You do not need to read another self-help book to find the secret. The manual is already written in your DNA. All you need is inherent within you, but it is dormant. You must awaken it. You must have a conversation with yourself that borders on aggression. You must say, I am exhausted by living beneath my potential. I refuse to go to bed one more night feeling the heavy weight of disappointment. I demand to wake up and feel pride. No one can do this for you. No one can live your life for you. The longer you procrastinate, the more you feed the parasite of weakness. Today is the only tangible opportunity you possess to start winning. And let us lower the bar of entry so that you cannot fail. You do not need a massive victory. You just need to not quit. You just need to execute the plan you wrote down. You just need to keep your word to yourself. That is the greatest victory achievable by man. And then, you replicate it tomorrow. You clone that victory. You do not need inspiration. You do not need motivation, which is a fickle emotion. You need repetition. If you commit to this, you will witness a transformation. These microscopic victories will chain together, forming an unbreakable bond of character. One day you will awake and realize you are no longer the person you were. You are a person of principle. You are a person of clarity. You are a person who commands reality because you command yourself. You will no longer require external validation or motivation because you have become a self-sustaining generator of energy. You fuel yourself with genuine belief, born not of delusion but of evidence. The evidence of real action, the evidence of silent battles won in the dark. You do not need to scream to the world that you have changed. Transformation is not a public announcement, it is a private shift in frequency. You just need to wake up 30 minutes earlier. You sit at the desk when others are dreaming. You open the book when others are scrolling. You engage in labor when others are making excuses. No one sees it. No one claps. But eventually, the way you look at yourself in the mirror changes. It is no longer the shifting, evasive gaze of a fraud. It is the steady, piercing gaze of a man or woman who knows exactly who they are, where they are going, and why they cannot be stopped. Jim Rohn said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." But let me add a psychological dimension to that. To cross that bridge, you must leave heavy baggage on the shore behind you. You must abandon laziness. You must abandon the addiction to procrastination. You must abandon the excuses you have carefully crafted to protect your ego. You must abandon the need to be coddled. And then, you walk across that bridge without looking back. Every individual has a different threshold for pain, but all enduring successes share a common architectural feature. They are built on the power of refusal. The refusal to do what is easy. The refusal to live at the mercy of fluctuating emotions. The refusal to compromise with the lower self. When you practice this refusal for long enough, the universe hands you a gift of incalculable value. Freedom. Real freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, that is the freedom of a toddler. True freedom is the agency to do what is right, even when every fiber of your being does not want to. It means you are no longer a slave to your impulses. You are not a puppet to temptation. You are not held back by the friction of procrastination. You act because you have trained yourself into a warrior of the mind. This daily warfare does not need to be grandiose. It is intimate. It is holding the line on the promises you made. Today I will not give up. It translates to practical actions, setting the alarm 30 minutes earlier, writing down 3 critical tasks and executing them before you check the dopamine dispenser that is your phone, walking for 20 minutes instead of consuming mindless media, reading 10 pages of wisdom before sleep, writing your dreams by hand to remind your subconscious that you are living with direction. These things seem trivial. They are small. But if you persist, they rewrite your neural pathways. They alter your identity completely. There is a distinction between the amateur and the professional in the game of life. The amateur lives by inspiration and constantly needs external fuel. The professional lives by discipline and relies on a system. That system need not be complex. It just needs to be non-negotiable. You identify what is essential and you refuse to neglect it. A successful person is not perfect. Perfection is a myth. A successful person is consistent. They do not always feel excited, but they always do what is required. They do not wait for a push. They possess an internal engine. They do not need recognition because they are operating for a currency more valuable than applause: self-esteem. When you master yourself, you earn the reverence of your own conscience. There is no award on earth that can rival that feeling. How many times have you sat alone in a room, feeling the crushing weight of disappointment? Not because you were outmatched by an opponent, but because you folded? Not because the world was too strong, but because you gave up too easily? Because you knew with agonizing clarity that you could have done better? That is the most bitter pill to swallow. The pain does not come from the external world. it radiates from within. It is the gap between your reality and your potential screaming at you. But it is also from this dark place that you can mine your greatest strength. You must turn around and face the shadow. You must look bravely at the things you have been avoiding. You name the demon. You admit the fault. And then you act. You do not need to fix your entire life in 24 hours. You just need to stop letting go of the rope. You just need to ensure that the disappointment of yesterday does not bleed into the potential of today. Every morning is a resurrection. A chance to prove to yourself, I am stronger than I thought. I do not live for ease, I live for growth. I live to conquer the reflection in the glass. No one is forcing you to be excellent. No one is holding a gun to your head demanding perfection. But if you allow mediocrity to steer the ship of your life, the price you pay is the death of your dreams. Every time you skip the important work, you are not just losing time, you are digging a canyon between you and your best self. If you do not bridge that canyon soon, it will become an abyss that you cannot cross. Start with the smallest task today. Perform it with total presence. Apply your full mental faculty to it. Do it as if the fate of the universe depended on it. Then do another. And another. You are rebooting the operating system of your mind. You are shifting from a passive thinker to an active agent. From a dreamer to a doer. From a victim of circumstance to a master of destiny. When you have lived this way for a sufficient duration, you become immune to the chaos of the outside world. You become a pillar. An anchor. People will look at you and ask, how is he so steady? How is she so unbreakable? There is no secret magic. It is simply that every day you chose to beat your internal enemy one more time. And this brings us to the genesis of grit. No human being is born with a pre-installed spine of steel. Resilience is forged in the fire of the days when no one is watching. It is forged in those mornings when you rise before the sun, despite the fatigue of the previous night. It is crafted in the hours you force yourself to sit in the chair and produce work, even when your mind is screaming to flee. It is built in the split-second decision to pick up a book instead of a device. Not a single victory within you is an accident. They are all consequences, direct cause and effect, of the times you refuse to negotiate with your weakness. The external world will always provide you with a valid visa for procrastination. It is raining. You are busy. There is a family obligation. The emotions are volatile. But if you wait for the conditions to be perfect, you will die waiting. You will never find the right moment to start. And the more you wait, the more you sever the connection with the version of yourself you yearn to be. Jim Rohn warned us, and the warning echoes through the corridors of time. If you do not design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. If you do not master yourself, you will become a victim of your own life. You cannot afford to remain in the purgatory of half-finished promises. Eventually, you will become bored with yourself. Not because you haven't achieved fame, but because you are tired of your own repetitive script. The script where you promise change and deliver nothing. No judge on earth is as harsh as you are on yourself. When you fail to execute your own word, you destroy your self-trust. This is the root cause of your feeling of being stuck. You do not trust the driver of the vehicle. And the only way to restore that trust is not through a seminar, not through a motivational video, and not through a book. It is through action. Silent, relentless, daily action. Change does not require a press release. It requires you to live as if you have no other option. And in truth, you don't. If you do not change today, the regret you will feel in the future will be unbearable. Men are rarely destroyed by one catastrophic event. They are destroyed by 1,000 tiny surrenders. One day of quitting. One decision to compromise. One moment of rationalizing laziness. One nod to procrastination. Slowly, these bricks of weakness build a prison around you. You wake up one day to find you are an inmate in your own existence. But you hold the key. You can shatter these walls, not with a single punch, but with persistence. By choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. By choosing discipline over effect. By standing up every time you collapse. The journey back to yourself is the most arduous trek you will ever undertake, but it is the only one worth the cost. Nothing rivals the sensation of alignment, of knowing you are living correctly. Nothing is more potent than the look you give yourself after a day where you did not compromise. When you sustain this lifestyle, you become a silent archetype. Your very presence compels others to examine themselves, not because you preach, but because you are. You do not live for compliments, you live for principles. No one sees the early mornings. No one sees the declined invitations. No one sees the workout in the rain. No one sees the meticulous goal setting. But the results will speak with a voice of thunder. Success built on the foundation of self-mastery is unshakable. It is not measured by public metrics, but by the number of times you said no to your inner weakness. You need to prove nothing to anyone. You only need to live in a way that forces you to respect yourself. That is the only wealth that cannot be taxed, stolen, or lost in a market crash. Even if you lose your fortune, your status, or your allies, you retain the internal infrastructure that you built through hundreds of silent battles. That is your irreplaceable arsenal for the future. The choice is binary and it is immediate. Either you continue in the loop of giving up, or you put a period at the end of that sentence and start a new paragraph today. Write down the goal. Clear the desk. Do the work. Drink the water. Read the page. Do anything but do it with the mindset, today I win. And then win again tomorrow. Imagine a future where waking up is not a battle. Where reading and working and training are not chores but reflexes. This is the state of flow that comes when you have reprogrammed your internal operating system. Discipline ceases to be a burden. It becomes your identity. But to reach that oasis, you must cross the desert of no results. You will endure days where it feels pointless. You will fight mornings where the old you tries to claw back control. You will have nights of questioning. This is the crucible. This is where you must stand firm. Because the champion acts even when the feeling of excitement has long evaporated. The champion acts in the vacuum of emotion. When you maintain discipline despite the lack of immediate reward, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from your lower self. You are proving that you value your commitment more than your comfort. Every day you act correctly, you cast a vote for the superior version of yourself. Every day you quit, you hand the steering wheel to the inferior version. Self-conquest is not a one-time election. It is a daily referendum. You vote with your actions. You must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This is the golden rule. Regardless of your career or the economy, your primary investment must be in your own psychology, your habits, and your resilience. You are the machine that runs your life. If the machine is neglected, it will break down on the ascent. Discipline is how you talk to yourself when the room is empty. It is the ability to walk when others sit. It is the ability to work in silence while others broadcast their intentions. And one day when the world calls you lucky, you will know the truth. Luck is not something you wait for, it is something you manufactured with sweat, sleepless hours, and invisible victories. When you have conquered yourself, you cease to fear the future. You know that whatever chaos arrives, you can rely on yourself to handle it. That self-reliance is a power that money cannot buy. It is the feeling of being real, of being solid. You stop looking at others. You stop comparing. There is only you and your path, and you walk it without apology. Your words gain weight because they are backed by the gold standard of action. Your influence grows because it emanates from a person who has molted their old skin and refused to surrender to mediocrity. You will inspire others not through rhetoric, but through resonance. They will see your calm in the storm. They will see your consistency in a world of distraction. That is true power. And you created it by choosing, day after day, to win the war against yourself. You will come to realize that this strategy of self-conquest is the only way to live authentically. We are drowning in motivation and slogans, yet starving for execution. No one taught you that without the ability to conquer your own laziness, all the knowledge and opportunity in the world is useless. Many start the race with passion, but few finish. Why? Because the race is not to the swift. The race is to the one who does not quit on themselves. Jim Rohn said, "We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. But remember, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Emotions are weather, discipline is the earth. The winner is not the one who never feels pain or boredom. The winner is the one who does not let those feelings dictate their actions. They walk with heavy legs. They work with a heavy heart if they must. But they move, because they know that on the other side of that resistance lies the person they were meant to be. Strength is not born from ease. It is born from the repetition of the difficult. It is looking at yourself at the end of the day and saying, I did not fold. Think of the peace you feel after a day of honest effort. It is a quiet, profound confidence. It is better than any drug. You can have that every day. You just have to choose it. If you win today, you redeem the failures of the past. You begin to believe in yourself again. And when you believe in yourself, the impossible becomes merely difficult, and the difficult becomes done. All the freedom, respect, and value you want starts with one thing. Do you live by your own code? Life is keeping score. Every procrastination is a minus. Every disciplined act is a plus. You can rewrite the score. You don't need permission. You just need to do enough right things consistently until you are no longer a person who needs saving, but a person who creates. You have fought yourself too many times to surrender now. When you master this, life stops being a struggle and becomes a flow. You wake up with purpose. You cut out the noise. You eliminate the toxic. You focus on the essential. You become a professional at living. And soon the world responds. You attract quality people because discipline recognizes discipline. You build a circle of warriors, not worriers. You stop chasing success and you become the type of person success pursues. In the end, when the lights go out and the applause fades, you will ask yourself, what am I most proud of? It won't be the money or the titles. It will be the days you didn't quit. The days you did the right thing when no one was looking. The nights you faced your demons and stood up. It will be the knowledge that you lived truly. This victory, the victory over the self, is the only thing you can take with you. The world has enough talent. It has enough ideas. It is starving for people who keep their promises to themselves. Be that person. You have walked a hard road to get here. Keep going. Not to show off, but to honor the potential within you. You are not alone. There are others out there in the dark, fighting the same battle, rewriting their habits, refusing to give up. Your victory helps them. You are a beacon. So I ask you to pause. Take a deep breath. And ask yourself, how will I live tomorrow to be worthy of the person I am building? Answer that question with your actions every morning, and you will have lived a life of substance. You do not need the world to see it. You will feel it in your blood. You are living not for validation but for integrity. If this message has penetrated your defenses and touched something deep within you, do not let it end here. Share this with those who are struggling. Leave a comment below. Make a public declaration of what you are fighting or where you will start. Writing it down is the first step of commitment. I want to hear your journey. And if you are not with us yet, join us. This is not for entertainment. This is a training ground for those who demand more from themselves. I cannot promise you an easy path to success, but I promise to remind you of who you are and how powerful you can be if you stop betraying yourself. We do not need to conquer the world. We only need to conquer ourselves. And that, my friends, is enough.